Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Kicking It with Karan. Today I've got Derek from Outfront Media and we're going to talk all things Data Lake and Lakehouse. Hey Derek, thanks for attending.
Hey, Karan, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Cool. So for my audience, why don't you give a little bit of background of like what you do at Outfront, what Outfront's all
Sure.
about, and we can go from there.
Sure. Outfront Media is one of the largest out-of-home media providers in North America. We leverage technology, location, and creative services to deliver meaningful and engaging interactions between brands and audiences as people go and live their life.
Gotcha. So what are some of the kinds of use cases, interesting use cases that customers interact through the media company?
So obviously, being out of home, I think most people are exposed to billboards, transit shelters. When you're in the subway, obviously we have a lot of new technology in the subways that are digital assets. And we also do a lot of augmentation through impressions, through traditional Facebook, Instagram, that type of thing, as well as mobile advertising.
Okay, that's interesting. So how does technology intersect with these kinds of use cases? That's the interesting part. And I guess how do you capture all the data that's coming through, or at least how do you gather, I guess, consumer insight from the billboards or the kind of the digital advertising in the subways? How does that all work?
Well, there's a lot of different ways we get data. We've evolved over the last few years on the Oracle platform, especially to really gain insights from our data, from transactional data specifically. But we're evolving to a more data-driven strategy, and we really want to bring insights from not just our understanding of our transactions, but of other pieces of data that are out there, whether it be impression metrics or things from mobile movements, even down to geospatial technologies and use cases where we can understand not only where people are, but where our assets are, how they're being interacted with, and whether we're actually positioned correctly to have the right media available for our advertisers to connect brands with their audiences.
I mean, Oracle is known as a database company, first and foremost, and that's where lots of customs data lives. But Oracle's kind of in the recent history anyway has expanded to be a platform company, right? So how can you talk a little bit about the interaction on the Oracle side and some of the technology intersections?
Sure. I mean, I think we've taken a cloud approach for about 7 years. And that's when we were spun off as our own company from CBS. And so at that point, we really needed a data warehousing, data visualization type strategy. And I think we were one of the first customers on Bix, and we adopted database as a service in the platform. So we started there. We kind of gained a lot of traction around this because this was a new concept in the company to have an analytics platform. Over time, we've evolved to be really successful with a warehouse and data visualization, but we've also done very siloed use cases around data integration, data catalog, we've been kicking around for kind of understanding data from all over the place. And now we're looking at the data lake concept with object storage. And what Oracle's brought to us is it's like, hey, you've got a lot of these really interesting use cases, but that really is a strategy, a lakehouse strategy. You really should be moving toward that strategy long term. So what we've done is, for a 2022 transformation project, is we're really looking toward not just the lakehouse, but really the transitional platform for us to be like the modern data platform. Where we can have a centralized hub of trusted data that anyone can consume or contribute to, and make it easy for whether it be a system, an analyst, or a data scientist to work with that data.
Interesting. And so, this is something that's actually been kind of floating around, right? I mean, it was kind of the data lake revolution the last couple of years, and then now it's sort of turned into the lake house. And um, I'm curious, where does it go on from here? Basically, it's a bunch of unstructured or structured data sitting in a repository. Could be object storage, could be your warehouse, could be something else, right? But what else are you trying to gather? Like, what is it that you couldn't do before, potentially now that you could with this architecture, whether it's on the machine learning side or whether it's analytics side? Like, how are you getting more insights out of it, and I guess feeding that back into your advertiser cycle?
Well, there's a lot of transformation projects that in the company that not only require changes to process, but require changes to systems and data. So they're kind of disparate right now, and we do our best to kind of wrangle all of that information and try and make things more efficient and get better insights. But moving to one single platform is really the transformation from my side, from what my team can offer, to make it easier for everyone to do all these transformation projects. And from my standpoint, it should look easy to an end user or a contributor or something to do this. And I think the platform evolution over the last 4 or 5 years on the Oracle side has made it that this is really where we should invest our data platform.
Got it, got it. And that, I mean, since you've been in sort of the cloud journey for 7 years, and then obviously with Oracle for a little while now, um, and obviously you're savvy enough to know some of the other competitors out there too. So, can you give us a little insight of like how you made the choice on the Oracle side, but also, what are your thought process on like where Oracle Cloud should be headed, in this space in the future?
Well, I think one of the big things that we find a benefit in partnering with Oracle with is kind of the cloud lift services, right? So, we have a lot of ideas, and the technology and the roadmap deliverables have been accelerated in the last 3 to 4 years, to the point where no longer are we waiting for the technology to catch up to our ideas. It's kind of the other way around. Like, we actually have to get these use cases out into being utilized. So not having a huge team and always having to prioritize, time and money. One of the things about Cloud Lift Services is it really gets us through the initial stages to get us a shorter runway to get something into production. So, Oracle's been a great partner, understanding our use cases, understanding our technology concerns or needs. And, like I said, the Cloud Lift on the data science side, we've done some things around pricing models. We did things around our real estate, geospatial needs. So a lot of that stuff, I'm not sure if we could have gotten a lot of that done in the current year without a good partner. So I think when I look at the landscape of other technology partners, yeah, there might be, things that match up for what we need, but I don't see that investment or that collaboration or that partnership being offered. And I think it's been made us really effective as a team.
That sounds good, and I think as I said, right, like kind of the core fundamental aspect of Oracle's changed over the course of the last few years, and the lift services is something that we thought of as an accelerator for customers rather than a, let's say, a cost center, right? Like it's a very different thought process from that perspective. So, and the good news is that it actually helps us with a feedback loop back into engineering to help us better our product, so to speak. So maybe a couple of closing comments on like where you see this kind of digital advertising and the industry going forward, right? I mean, with sort of the pandemic, not a lot of people are getting outside or getting into the subway. So where do you see the business changing? And I guess it's getting more digital. So I guess being a technology is, well, actually that's the interesting one. Is Outfront more becoming a technology company because of that, or is it more still a core advertising platform?
I think at our core, the advertising obviously
Yeah.
is our core service, but I think the technology and the insights through data are really fundamental into moving us from, kind of the traditional roadside business that you kind of remember and see from years ago and see in movies to something where it is digital. You can be standing on a subway platform and you might get content pushed to you that is relevant to you. And that could be in front of you, it could be on a mobile device. And that's really where we're headed. The industry as a whole is heading toward an impression model, really understanding who's seeing these campaigns. So, you need a platform to not only consume the data that allows you to understand the impressions, but to start to understand whether the impressions are being delivered.
Mm-hmm. And maybe one follow-on question from that. I mean, with you're basically trying to sort of predict almost consumer behavior, right? How does machine learning or artificial intelligence play a part in that? I mean, obviously the data platform story is a big component of getting to that stage, but everyone's kind of talking about deep learning and AI and ML. I mean, it's been around for a lot of years, right? So how does that play into part for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we've run on as an industry and to some extent a company is, gut feeling. I know my market. I know what's going on. I think machine learning, data science, AI, all that is starting to contribute to, hey, let's see if do you really know your market? Do you really understand what's going on in the marketplace? And, maybe we can start to move the needle, give you some suggestions of things that we're seeing that might change how you approach, trying to achieve your budget, which is really ultimately most sales teams' goals. And then, it just, at that point, can you start to trust the data-informed solution that we're bringing? And, maybe that makes us more efficient, better partners with our advertisers and our agencies. So I think that feedback loop and understanding of the business right now, it's very, it's kind of very much gut feel. I mean, one of the great things about the platform is you can do things quickly, you can fail quickly, and you can move on. We pull stuff all the time and try stuff, and then we can just ditch it if it doesn't work, and we move on to the next thing. So it does make us nimble. Instead of waiting for the business to come and tell us what they think something should be, we can actually go and experiment as a team and bring some insights to the business and say, hey, I know you've never really thought of it this way, but this is kind of what the data is telling us. Maybe this would be interesting to you. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not.
Awesome. Well, this is a very interesting topic. I mean, obviously with everything going on in the world today, the change in business, especially on the media side and the advertiser side, is very, very interesting. So anyways, thank you again, Derek, for joining us on the show. I'm sure we can talk about these topics all day long, but anyways, thanks again for being a great customer and a partner, and we'll catch you all next time on another episode of Kicking It with Karan. Bye.